AI powered apps have been ruling the internet since the past few weeks with the release of NanoBanana and Seedream 4.0. And the fundamental difference is character consistency that these image generation models bring out. But only a few people have been able to successfully get results because these tools are new and we are learning how to use them properly. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about my personal framework of how I go from an idea to an ad, and we are going to be taking the case study of VK breweries because who says no to a beer? And in that, we will create different image assets like the character, the storefront, the insights, and we will see how to prompt these image generation models properly so as to get the desired results. We will talk about which models are best for which particular use cases. And once we have enough image assets, we will create few short video clips which can be used as branding or advertisements, and then we'll again talk about how to prompt them properly and which video generation models are best for which particular use case. We will then see how can automation help you speed up the process and be more efficient, and then we'll talk about few other use cases of what can be done using AI powered ads and content creation, and then lastly I'll talk about the costing of each of them so that we have an idea of how much we are paying and we know what the ROI is going to be. And if you are new here, basically my name is Vaibhav Kejriwal and I create content regarding AI and automation and share my learnings with all of you. So without further ado, let's start with the tools we will need for this particular. So we will need ChatGPT or any other LLM for ideation, planning, and then prompt refinement. To access image and video generation models, we will use Kai AI. And as you see, it's like a marketplace for video, image, and music models all in one go. Now you see API here. Don't worry, we do not want to use API, we only want to use these as playgrounds. So, what I mean by that is, I don't want to go to multiple websites like Google, Hilo, or ByteDance to access different models separately. I'll come into this one place and then I'll go to, let's say, NanoBanana by Google, and then I can see how I can write the prompt. I can put the input image and I can run it, and I need to pay only as per usage. So I don't need to get a $20 subscription. You can start with $5 and you can get a lot of image assets and video assets in it, good enough to create almost two ads. And the best part, their pricing is lower than what you will get officially. So if you see here, Nano Banana costs 4 credits, which is around 2 cents. But if you go on their website or if you use any other service, it will cost you 4 cents. So this is a 50% reduction. So it is not just for NanoBanana, it exists for most of the image and video generation models. And once we have these pieces, for automation, we will use NA10, which is our no-code AI automation platform, but that is optional. For beginners, NA10 is not necessary. We can do it using just ChatGPT and Kai AI itself. Next, let's talk about my framework of how I go from an idea to an ad if I want to create my next marketing material. Now, for ideas, I go for personal inspiration or something we have done in the past, or I use ChatGPT or any other LLM is fine. After I finalized a few ideas, I then move on to the design brief. What that means is I want to define what should each scene look like, what should be the characters, how should be the motion going, there should be a background music or a voiceover, how should it look like. And then I use ChatGPT for that use case. Again, you can use any other LLM. Once I have my design brief, I then generate image assets which are going to be starting of the scenes, then branding, logo, and then character, storefront, and so on. And for that, we use different image models, and again, each of one has their own strength. So we will talk about that in this video, which one is better for which use case. And once I have enough image assets which are starting the scene, ending the scenes, and I know how different scenes are going to look, then I create different video assets. And again, there are a bunch of different models, all of them have their strengths and weaknesses, and we will talk about them once we talk about the video models. So we will take the case study of VK breweries and let's go directly into ChatGPT and see how I created an idea. Now as you see, I just went there and gave it a simple prompt. I want to create an 8 to 10 second ad for VK breweries. Can you suggest 5 ideas? It's as simple as that. It gave me few ideas like the pour that pauses time, a slow motion shot, cheers to every kind, which is quick jump cut, friends at beach bonfire, quiet solo drinker, and so on. So these are different kinds of ideas. I'm not going into details of each of them. After going through different ideas, I decided I like the first one, and then I gave it some ideas as to how it can refine it and then create a proper ad and different scenes Basically, what I wanted is someone welcoming you inside the bar, then there should be some fast motion, and the scene should end towards the bartender, then some slow motion where someone is pouring the beer, and then once it pours, it goes to normal, and bartender pushes the glass towards the customer. And I asked it to refine the idea and give it in short format, 10 to 20 words for each scene. So I have everything. How should the exterior look like, right? What is the establishing shot, time duration, description, what is the gesture, ambience, and so on. I have it end to end. Now, you don't need to go into this much detail because that will be slightly difficult to control as a beginner. And what you're going to do is create a maximum of 2 to 3 scenes in your first ad or video. And you can refine it even properly. As you see, I reduced the number of frames because that was too much for me as well, and I did 5 frames. Now, this is the design brief that I was talking about. Now, as you see, I'm documenting everything. So, first of all, I'm talking about the idea. Then I have the design brief. Now, as you see, I have reduced it to 2 frames because otherwise it would have been a very long video, and I wanted to make it beginner friendly. So for that, I've just created 2 simple scenes: a welcoming scene, a host at VK Breweries smiles, opens the door, and then invites you inside. And then there's some fast motion, dynamic motion, camera rushes through the doorway, and you see laughter, chatter, things like you would hear in a brewery or a pub. And then you head straight to the bar, and then you will see VK, which is me, Web of Kejriwal, is there with my laptop towards the end. If I had to extend it, I would just take the same idea where a bartender is coming and pouring the beer in slow motion and passing on to me. So let's just take these 2 scenes and let's just start creating our image assets. For the assets, we need 4 things: a logo, a store, some characters, and a product. Now let's start with the logo. So for that, I went to Canva and then I searched for brewery logos. It took me like less than 2 3 minutes to get up this. I changed it to VK and breweries. That's all I did. Rest all was given to it by Canva, and it was all free. Now that we have our logo, now we'll create some image assets for our store. Now there are a couple of ways to go about it. So you can ask the image models to directly create store assets for you, or you can actually take a reference image and then create something which is similar to that. So for the reference image, I went to Google, searched for brewery storefront, and I went for this particular image. I like that one. You can choose any one you want. And then I went to ChatGPT and I gave it that image and I said, analyze this image and give me a prompt for it and ignore all the text that is there. And it gave me a prompt, and then I used that to create different image assets. I copied the prompt here and then went back to Kai AI and then gave it to different models. And then for the prompt, I gave it the same piece, and for the reference image, I gave the base image. Once I gave the base image, I gave it the aspect ratio. So I wanted to create in 16:9. Output format you can select as you want. And for now, NanoBanana does not have HD, but native is also fine. And then I ran it here. You see this as 4 credits. This is actually 2 cents. So 1 cent is 2 credits. So this just took 2 cents to create from NanoBanana. And I gave it to different models to see which output each one is creating. So as you see, we have the reference image, the prompt, and when given to different models, we have different results. So I did not like the ChatGPT one. It is very dark. It gave some Delhi brewery, some text which I did not ask it to do. I think these were okay. I like this Seedream one very well because the lighting is absolutely perfect, and it is also giving a vibe of evening where people start coming to the bar. And then if I go down, I have the 4 generations from Midjourney. So basically, if you use it, you will realize that it gives you 4 variations for the image. So I have all of these. I like this one the most, but I think this is also good, this also good, and this is also good enough. And if I zoom in a bit, you can see that it has some counters, it has some tables, everything is in detail. And as you see, this is some kind of brewery setup or a beer dispenser setup, and they have other lot of details that you could find. This is also good enough. I think this could have been also used as well. It has some different kind of lighting, and it is giving that evening vibe, which is very specific of what you would want in a brewery. And again, the choice is up to you. Whichever one you want to use, that is fine. The next piece is creating the characters, and I want a bartender and a second character of myself because I have a branding of VK breweries, so that's why I should be there. Now, what I did for that is went to ChatGPT, asked it for an image generation prompt for a bartender with Gen Z. I gave it some details, keep a plain background, have her hold a beer mug, and she should be giving positive and inviting vibe. She should be photorealistic, and I asked for final prompt. Now, once I got the final prompt, I again went to Kai AI and I went to their Midjourney section. Now, as you see, it gives you four different outputs. Now, I would definitely not use this one. Both of these are fine, and you can use anyone which you want, but they resemble what I had asked. And one thing to note is you ran it different times and you will get different results. So when I ran it last time, I got these four different results which are completely different from what we are getting right now. In this one, you can see this glass is a bit weird and much smaller compared to her hand. So I'll probably not use this one. I'm okay with using either of these three and they should work fine. Now I wanted the beer mug to have the logo as well. So if I have to go down, what I did is I gave the logo, I gave this character's image and asked add the logo on the beer mug, and as you see the logo is there what we wanted. Now similar to this, what we want is add the character our bartender to the store front, and we have given it different prompts, so I'll just walk you through all of them. Now I wanted the bartender to be at the storefront, so I said have her stand in the doorway while holding the mug close to her body and inviting people in with the other hand. As you can see, it just cut, copy, pasted this and it looks like a Photoshop edit. There is no invitation and it looks a bit weird, like why is this person giving you a beer mug outside the storefront? So for that, what I did is I refined the prompt again. I said close up shot of bartender leaning towards the glass, and what I'm actually trying to do here is basically trying to give it some change from the base image. If you just say have the bartender standing, it will just cut, copy, paste. But once you give it some change, you are actually forcing the model to make it different, and once they do, they maintain consistent lighting and shadows. So that's what I'm saying. She is not holding the beer mug and she's inviting people in with her other hand. Now, as you see, this looks even worse. And why is she half inside it and half outside? Why is there no glass? So this looks even weirder. Now, to solve for that, I said lady standing on doorstep. She does not hold the beer and inviting you with her hands, and maintain consistent lighting, shadows, extend to full image of the lady because that's what we wanted. Camera angle should be the same, but shot should be a close up. Now again, this does not give me the perfect result. This is okay to use. So then I said have the bartender lean towards the glass door. Her hand is hanging down. Another hand she is gesturing people to come in and maintain consistent lighting. So this is also okay and this is also fine, but obviously it can be improved, but this is good for starting image. Now I wanted to try it out in a different store setting as well. So again I gave it a bunch of few different prompts. Again I got a very similar result. She is behind the bar and it looks like cut off image, so I didn't want that. But I like this one, which is she's inviting everyone, and I like this one as well. This felt the most natural to me. She's leaning on the door and asking people to come inside by gesturing her hand. Now, I've used different prompts and I will be giving all of this material away. You can access it and understand how each prompt made the difference. So, I'm just showing you how it is happening. The next piece was adding the logo for the windows. So what I did is I gave the reference image and I asked add the branding on glasses of the storefront and make it subtle and lightly see-through. Now as you can see, it is subtle, slightly see-through, but there is too much branding. I didn't want that. I didn't like that. So, and then I refined it. Add the branding on glasses and make it subtle and see-through. The branding should be towards the center and one logo on each of the window, and make sure that the text is intact. Now, as you can see here, it is now only one branding and the text VK is right, but the breweries part is not properly visible. I think with a couple of more prompts, it would have been better, but I think this is good enough to start. Next piece was creating the back scene of that. So what I asked is show me the inside of this exact brewery. I gave that image as the reference. I want to see everything like bars, chair, beer, people, and everything which is there from the view of someone who is at the back side. So as you see, you have the bartender, Now, since this is a very zoomed in image, the face is not very proper. You have the logos, and then you have a natural scene of a bar, someone pouring beer, then people talking, chattering, enough. Now, just to give it another twist, I asked, put the lady in the front as the bartender. So it created again a different image, and as you see, she's doing something with the glass. There is this beer dispenser, and people are here. Logo is here as well, and you can see the VK part, but as I said, the breweries part is not there, but that's okay for starting this piece. The next part was basically adding myself to the photo. So I gave it the back image, and I gave it my image, and I said show the man sitting in the brewery with a blue colored MacBook. As you see, it looks like a very weird photo. It looks like, why am I bigger than the other people? And like, this just looks like a copy paste. To solve for that, I again said show the man in the brewery, make sure his size and persona are matched to other people, and he's actually facing the bartender. Now, as you see, I asked it to face the bartender, so there is a laptop, but there is no person. Like, it missed me entirely. Now I could have asked to placed on one of these chairs. That is one way, by taking this reference image. Or what I did, which is kind of like a hack, and it works really well, is basically I gave it one combined image. So basically, as you see here, this is the combined image. This has this back scene and my photo, and then I gave it show the man in the brewery with the MacBook, make sure his size and persona are matched, and make sure lighting and shadows are consistent. Now this looks much better. Now I would have wanted to be slightly less lighting on my face, but that's okay. You can actually give this back and ask it to reduce the lighting. And all of these were created majorly on NanoBanana because I wanted character consistency. Now, talking about which image model is best in which use case. So for that, we have Midjourney. For that, if you want to make something artistic, marketing or social content, use that. But it is not good at creating photorealistic people. NanoBanana excels in that. You can have photorealism, business, products, portrait, and editing in general is very good in NanoBanana. Seedream is more an exploratory, and you get similar to artistic image as you get to Midjourney. And then we have Google Imagen 4. It is not that used properly, but it can be used for marketing or branding or education purposes. It is more used for creating these models rather than editing. But these can, create from text, or you can give an image reference as well. So these three should be fine, and I'll talk about the pricing towards the end of the video, but this is how you should look at different image models. Now the next piece comes as product, but the product is actually a beer glass, so I don't need to create a different image for it. But if you're doing it for your brand, you might have that actually existing, some specific kind of glass that you have, so you might want to actually create some assets for the same in different scenarios as well. But once you have this different kind of image assets where you have your logo, your store, again you have different images for it, and then you have your characters, you can actually create different assets combining these, like bartender at storefront, bartender at front with branding, then the back scene, and then back scene with VK, which is adding me to the image. Now once you have the image assets, we are going to next create our video assets, and I cannot paste videos directly into it, so I'll just play them. So first of all, what I did is I tried to give the entire scene in one go to VO3 and to see what the output looks like, and this is what it created. And as you see, the face is very morphed, it does not look natural at all, and it skipped few steps, but then the pouring is fine. So to remove that piece, what I did is I asked it to create a close-up. Now as you see, the close-up image is the same, but now we have a more detailed view so that the model can actually recognize it properly. Then I asked it to create the video again, and I'll show you the output very quickly. So as you see, the face is still morphed, and then it is giving a shot of the outside, and then the quality is also not the best, and it is not in slow motion as well. So that's what happens when you try to merge different scenes. Just to show you how to prompt this properly, so I asked create this design brief into video gen prompt. I gave it some details as to how it should look like, what should be seen transitions, and we got this prompt, and that is what we got for the first image. I also asked it to create for other models like Sora 2, Midjourney and van 2.5 because these are slightly different and you need to prompt them differently. And then I went to Kai AI, and then in that I went to VO3, and again I'm not using the API, I just uploaded the front image, I gave it the prompt, I selected the aspect ratio and I clicked on generate. And VO3 was not good at multiple scenes and I have wanted to create them all slightly separately. So what I did is I limited this to two scenes. I just gave it the prompt to show you guys how it would look like once you try to create all the scenes in one go. Now this is the output I got when I broke it into scenes and I gave it to VO3. Now, as you see, the hand is slightly off and the door is opening outside. I like for what is happening. So I thought I will try Midjourney for the same. So once I prompted Midjourney, I got all of these four results, and let's just look at each one of them one by one. As you see, she is going outside, which is just weird. I don't want that. The next one, she's just waving her hand randomly and then the door is opening randomly. I also don't want that. I think let's just look at the third one. This looks natural. She is opening the door and then going inside. So she is just waving her hand and the door starts opening by itself. As you see here, the door opens by itself and then she does some weird turnaround and goes inside. So I like this one and I chose this as my base for the first video. The next piece was a fast motion entry, camera rushing through the doorway, then some laughter, chatter, and then heading straight to the bar, and you reach VK, which is me with laptop towards the end. So for that, what I used is basically went to ChatGPT and then gave it two different images. So as you see, this was the ending frame of the first video and this was me sitting with a laptop towards the end. So what I said is I have want a video generation prompt for Hailu, which is the model, and I've given you start and end image, and start is where the lady is going inside, then guy is working and she walks, camera goes inside very quickly surpassing the lady, goes into fast motion, takes a turn to the guy using the laptop, and it should be 6 to 8 seconds. Write me a prompt for the same. That's how it generated the prompt for me. I took this prompt, went to Hailu and then chose this image to video standard. Now I can choose the pro version as well, but I wanted to try it out for the standard first and then see how to move upward. Once I gave it the prompt, I need to give it reference images, and as you see there are two images required. So first is the starting frame, how should the video start from, and the second is the ending frame, how should the video end at. And then I clicked on duration, I chose 6 seconds, and for resolution I chose 512p because first we want to try it out, and once it's good we can then regenerate it using 768p. And for prompt optimizer, basically you want to turn it off because you have actually optimized the prompt and you don't want to be it a black box, because if you do an optimizer you would not know how this is modified when it's going into the system. You only get the final output and then you click on run. Now these are the two different outputs I got, and the first one is from Kai AI, and as you see there is some bit of motion and it comes back to the here, but it is basically a bit weird because why is the motion going like this, why is she not going inside. And then I wanted to test out the platform, so I ran it there as well, and then I got this output where she is going in and then you're moving through fast motion and it more natural. Again, you can try out Kai AI and you can try out their platform. The results are going to be more or less the same, but you might need to modify the prompt and tweak it slightly to get the best result. How you do it is basically giving it small tweaks so that you know how everything is working out. Once you have these two scenes, you can actually join them together, add some sound effects, and there you will have your final video. Let's talk about the different video models, when to use this. So VO3 is majorly for cinematic marketing or storytelling, and this is very good at character consistency and making people talk using the native audio. Same goes for Sora too, but it has a limitation currently where you can't put in photorealistic people, so you might have to do animated or social clips, which can be very good. Then Midjourney is for artistic or stylized presentations. You can do campaign demos as well, and it works really well. Again, it will not have sound. And next is Halo is basically very cinematic marketing, dynamic motion, and storytelling, and you can actually give it start and end frame, so you have a lot of control there. And WAN 2.5, it is basically VO3 without any guardrails. But if you use WAN 2.5, make sure that it is legally, ethically, and morally correct. Now the next piece is basically talking about how automation plays into it. And if you are not aware, if you see the trend for it is rising very popularly because of how easy it is to use and how easy the workflow looks like. Now I have actually created an entire video of how you can automate multiple ads in one go. But if I have to talk about the overview, basically you give it some details, which is going to be the base image and your user prompt. And once you have that images, it goes into variation generations, and it talks about different angles like subject, usage, setting, color, people, props, text, and so on. And then it creates the images. And the best part, you can create multiple images in one go. So this was one base image, one prompt. I got two because I said I want two variations. And then for this particular use case, I wanted 5 images for this lip balm or moisturizer. And then as you see, I have 5 images, and I can actually generate pieces at scale. Now I have linked the video at the top right. You can actually watch it if you want. But this is how you can actually automate mass image creation in one go. So that's how you automate the image generation assets piece. And you can actually automate video assets piece as well, but that is not for beginners. I have bunch of videos on that as well. Do check out my channel if you like to. But only do it once you have had some idea and you have created some videos by yourself, and then only you try to automate that part. Talking about few use cases that I have shared in the past, you can do product 3D graphics, you can do logo animation or name card animations as well. So basically for product 3D graphics, I gave it the start frame, end frame, and this prompt that AirPods should open, they should emerge from the 1 to 2 second, and all of them should rotate, and it should like a 3D rotation for the next second, and then they should revolve and then slow down towards the end. Now I added some sound to it, and this is what the output looks like. And then the next piece was logo animation. So for that, I gave it a brand start and end image where there's this wooden board, the brand logo, and then the brand name in the end frame. And I said, create an animation, and then these letters should come out of this bag and they should land properly here. Next, I added some sounds to match with the video, and this is what the final animation looked like. The next piece is the name card animation which you saw at the start. Again, this is a start frame, end frame, and I wanted this VK to slide, change the color, and then my name to come here as well. So that's what I did, and this is how it looked like. And obviously I asked it to create a green screen so that I can remove that when I edit my videos. And then you can also create some UGC ads. And again, I have an automation not going into this, but just giving you an idea. UGC are basically user generated content. This is basically influencer style ads where they talk about products, features, benefits, why this is good, and how it has been, a good experience for them using it. And you can create it in any character, any language, and I will show you one example from my past video.
I eat top ramen masala flavor every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You should too.
And if you're thinking what prompt I used, so basically I gave it the front image or the starting image, and I just said make Naruto say, and then I gave it the exact script, and that's how I created that video. Next, let's talk about the cost structure. So again, different models have different structures, but let's talk about images and videos separately. So Midjourney, it costs 1.5 cents for 4 variants. If you want to speed it up, you can do the turbo or the fast, which is around like 4 cents for 4 variants. But you can absolutely put some time and get it cheaply once you're starting out. NanoBanana is 2 cents, Seedream is 1.75, and Google Imagen is 2.25. So it's more or less around 2 cents per image that you need to spend. For videos, you can do it in actually very less amount. So VO3 is 30 cents for fast, Sora 2 is 15 cents for base, And then Midjourney, you get 30 cents 4 variants. Halo, again 6 second with audio, you get 6 cents. And then Van 2.5, 30 cents. Now, these are different models and you use them for different use cases as I talked about. At the start, you should only go for the fast or base or standard models with low resolution. And once you have actually created something you like, you can then rerun it for quality or pro or HD, and you can get the better output, but you should like the initial structure first. Now if you want all of this material with my notes, my prompts, and my thought process on how to use each model, you can basically join my school community. Link is in the description, and then you can come to YouTube resources and then search for that particular video. Let's say I take this particular video, I will have all the details, the JSON files, the notes, and if there are any templates that are to be utilized, all of them will be here. So you can get all of it here. And that's it from my side. Hope you like this video and you learned something that you will utilize in your marketing workflows, and hope you have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.